Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Washington Update. I'm Don Cravens, Jr., Executive Director of the Washington Bureau of the National Urban League, and here are your top 5 things that you need to know. Super Tuesday has come and gone, and as you saw, there were clear winners on both sides of the aisle. We saw Secretary Hillary Clinton picking up 7 of 11 states in the Democratic primary, and also businessman Donald Trump picking up 7 of 11 states as well. What you also saw on both sides of the aisle is that the other candidates won as well. And so on the Republican side, you saw that Senator Cruz claimed 3 states during Super Tuesday. Senator Sanders claimed 4 states. And even Senator Marco Rubio claimed the state of Minnesota. As a result, you've got candidates who are saying they're going to continue to stay into this race. And so it'll be interesting to see how long this field stays as crowded as it is, and will it go into the convention season with these candidates as well. So we're going to continue to monitor that and keep you informed, but I'm sure you're doing a great job of watching TV on your own and keeping up with the presidential election. The number 2 thing that you need to know is the number 82. 82 is the number of organizations among the National Urban League that addressed a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee and its chairman, Chuck Grassley, the Senator Chuck Grassley, condemning their recent announcement on refusing to hold a hearing on a Supreme Court nominee if and when President Obama nominates someone to fill the vacancy on the Supreme Court. As you know, many of the Republicans in the United States Senate have said they will not grant the president a hearing if he nominates a man or a woman to fill that position. And so 82 organizations from across the country have sent a letter to Senator Grassley, the chairman of the committee, as well as members of that committee, condemning them for such actions. We want to see democracy continue to function, and the president obviously has the constitutional mandate to nominate men and women to serve as judges on all of our federal courts, specifically and especially the Supreme Court. And President Obama says he intends to do so, and we're hoping the men and women in the Senate will do their jobs and advise and consent on that nominee. This week in our affiliate highlight, we're going to be highlighting and giving special recognition to 4 great CEOs. And we've got many, many great CEOs. We've got 93 affiliates across the country. We want to recognize 4. Mr. J. Howard Henderson from the Greater Baltimore Urban League, Mr. George Lambert here, the Greater Washington Urban League here in D.C., Mr. Mike McMillan from St. Louis, the Urban League of Metro St. Louis, as well as Ms. Edith White from the Urban League in Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Virginia. They were here in Washington at the Bureau just last week, where we had a closed-door meeting with the National Association of Attorneys General to discuss improving the relationships between law enforcement and police, as well as communities of color. It was a great event. It was a great closed-door meeting. It was more of a dialogue where we just got a chance to talk to several of the attorney generals and the great staff at the National Association of Attorney Generals about things we can do to work better with our police and communities of color. And so I'm hoping it was the beginning of a dialogue that we will continue to have, because it's obviously needed all across America, particularly in our urban areas. Number 4 is America Saves Week. Did you know that last week was America Saves Week? And the Department of Treasury has tips on how you can best save up for your retirement under the MyRA program. So it's easy, and you can save as much as you can afford. And so we try to bring you from week to week tips on retirement and how you can save your money so that it's there when you need it the most. So please enroll today and take a look at that. And last but not least, March is Women's History Month. And so over the last couple of days, and as we go into March, I've been honored to participate in several events which are inspired by women or tell the tale of the hard work that women have done in our history but are continuing to do in our present day. One of such event was an event I participated in. It was a panel discussion hosted by the Small Business Administration, and it was on minority businesses. And one of the statistics that was very, very telling was the fact that the number of black-owned women businesses has surged 67.5% over the last couple of years, and only Hispanic entrepreneurs have topped that number. So our African American women are doing a phenomenal job of building small businesses and becoming entrepreneurs in today's society. I also got a chance to participate on a panel of civil rights leaders for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated here in Washington. Every year, the ladies of DST come to Washington to participate on the Delta Days on Capitol Hill. And so we had over 900 Deltas were here in Washington, and they all went to the Hill, met with their members of Congress, both in the House and in the Senate, and talked about such important issues like having a Supreme Court nominee heard, as well as the Voting Rights Act and sentencing reform. And so I just want to congratulate and thank all the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta for their continued advocacy. And which brings about the last point I want to make to you. You know, black women's voting power, we hear a lot about other communities and a lot of other ethnic groups who vote and how important that voting power is. But I do want to highlight and congratulate the voting power of our African American women. And we have to continue to know that in 2008 and in 2012, black women voted at higher rates than any other group in America. 74% of eligible black women went to the polls in 2012. And so if you want to know how President Obama was elected, besides the fact that it took he got votes from really all over the place and all over the country, black women were by far the ethnic group, particularly in those swing states, that went out and voted and really made a difference. And so congratulations to our black women, and I hope that as we get ready for this next round of congressional and presidential elections, all Americans will do their part to participate in our democracy. That's going to do it for our top 5 things that you need to know. Please take a look at our Washington Update. I'm Don Cravens Jr. We'll see you next week.